Alright, so in this video, we're going to be talking about the Atlas strategies that I use to take this character, my Splitting Steel champion, which I do have a guide for. Check it out on my channel. Take this character from 0 all the way to about 100 divines invested in the build, as well as a bunch of divines spent on like doing Ubers, testing out some other stuff, and saving up some currency for the next build. So as stated, this character has quite a bit of gear on them, and this is going to be the ways that I generated this currency for it. We use two particularly different Atlas strategies. The first one is going to be a very simple Alch Go stream of consciousness strategy. The whole idea behind this is we are just trying to churn through maps, get a whole bunch of guaranteed or as close to guaranteed content as we can, and just generate a little bit of currency to move into the secondary strategy. The highlights of this are that we are going to be taking most of the essence nodes. Notably, you should be using essences of corruption on very high tier essence mobs, things that have like a bunch of the purple mods on them to try to get the very high tier essences. We are also taking all of the legion nodes pretty much. These are just good, easy currency. You can take as many of the nodes that you can see over here that like increase the duration of the legions as you like, just to be able to fit how well your character can clear. You should be focusing on opening up the big chests, killing the unique mobs at the ends of the legion, and then everything else. Beyond that, we do have these improved trials in our maps. These are going to be from the Trial of Glory node. These will show you like a little golden border around it. These can be a decent amount of currency when they do spawn. I suggest only going into the improved trials. One of the improved trials is worth a ton of money. The other ones are worth not so much, but they're still kind of worth it. Beyond that, we do take these additional map nodes here. These are going to give you some like free uses of the map device that you can use, or some specialty uses of the map device. You can drop these if you feel that your farming generates you enough maps, but these are pretty good to have. Beyond that, we are going to be using Eldritch Altars. We are using the Searing Exarch because I feel that Awakened Sextants as well as Chaos Orbs and the Eldritch currency is going to be a little bit more reliable than the Divine Orbs that you could get from the Eater of Worlds altars. Those are very rare, and these are much more consistent. The Searing Exarch altars probably are going to be better money for you, almost assuredly. Notably, if you are dying because of Wrath of the Cosmos, just don't take this node. It's very powerful, but you don't have to take it. You can also do some like short little bits of Delirium. We do have a couple Delirium nodes here. Delirium mirrors are good for just, you know, going in a little bit, generating a little bit of currency, and getting out. You don't need to try to focus on getting like Simulacrum Splinters or anything from here. Just try to get like 4 or 5 waves if the wave rewards are pretty good when you spawn it. These nodes here are optional, but they do make it a little bit easier to get some more rewards out of these. It makes it so that like the delirium itself increases faster with distance from the mirror, as well as like the amount of time that you have to be in the fog. So you can take these nodes if you like. If you don't want to take these nodes, you can put them pretty much anywhere else. You could invest them into like shrine nodes. You could invest them into like the heist nodes. You can invest them pretty much anywhere. It doesn't really matter. There are some notes here on how you should be focusing on this strategy if you're interested in it, but I do want to jump to the main strategy, which is going to be what this character was mainly doing. Now, this strategy is going to involve forcing as many monsters into a delirium orbed map as we possibly can. The whole idea here is that we are trying to generate delirium rewards by getting all those monsters in there. So currently what I am doing is I am taking Dunes maps. You can do this on either Dunes or Cemetery, and I am putting Diviner's delirium orbs. I've been doing this for, I don't know, like a week or two now at this point. I'm doing these. You can also do skittering. The map or currency ones are okay as well, but I do think that Diviners or skitterers are going to be significantly better. So with these maps, you're going to be chiseling them up to 20%. Make sure that you are chiseling them before you do any rolling on them. And I am trying to roll these to at least 80-20. So 80 item quantity and 20 pack size with mods that my build can handle. So for example, my build can handle these mods no problem. Then after you have rolled them like this, you're going to be hitting them with as many delirium orbs as your build can handle. I'm currently doing 80% delirious because 100% delirious just slows me down too much and it's not worth the time investment. We're taking these 80% delirious maps, taking this over to the map device, and we're running this with a Gilded Legion Scarab, a Gilded Harbinger Scarab, a Rusted Breach Scarab, as well as a Polished Abyss Scarab. I will go a little bit more in depth into like the Atlas tree and strategy here in just a moment, but I do want to at least show you how this is going to function in game. So we are going to be running Abyss on the map device. For Sextants, we are going to be running additional Abyss, additional Breach, and then I'm just doing any other 2 Sextants that add mobs to the zone. You can do things like Delirium rewards fill faster. You can do Mysterious Harbinger, but those are super expensive right now. And I've felt, at least through my testing at the moment, the margins don't make sense. sextants, you're spending equal or more money on those sextants than they are generating for me every time that I do a map. So I personally am not doing them. So we'll pop open the map. The main goal here when we're doing these maps is to kill as many mobs as we possibly can. Now, one thing that I do want to mention particularly about generating currency in Path of Exile, this is just a quick tip for you. As long as you are not dying all the time, dying occasionally and being able to clear faster or move better or, you know, just be more efficient is okay. So many people get really upset with builds that don't have like invulnerability in these kinds of maps. It is in a softcore setting, in a trade league setting, significantly better to be able to clear a little bit faster and maybe die every so often than it is to be completely unkillable and clear 5 times as slow, okay? But the whole idea here is that we are just trying to generate as many enemies as we possibly can. Through Harbingers, through Breaches, through these altars, we're just going to be taking anything that our build can handle that generates those additional items. Okay, I'm getting completely stuck here. But you'll see that we are just generating an insane amount of enemies here. Now, this particular build can handle these relatively well, and I can kind of just stand in here at melee because of the way that the build is set up, but you can see in some of these bigger, juicier packs that it's getting a little bit insane. Now, this is just particularly when the breaches happen. The breaches are honestly kind of nuts these days, but the whole idea here, generate a bunch of enemies, kill them as quickly as you can, and move on to the... Oh, remember, boys, if you enjoy this content or this video ends up helping you out, consider liking this video to help support the channel and subscribing and hitting that notification bell to stay up to date with all the latest videos. All right, so I finished up the map. I think I died twice. It was a relatively juicy map, but here's what I ended up with, okay? So at the end of the day, I am running the Delirium Orbs that give us stacked decks, so that is going to be the main like bulk of the currency that I'm generating. However, I did generate this Divine Orb from a Legion, and then we did get 14 Raw Chaos from the Altars. On top of that, I did get some decent cards that are worth a little bit. Monochrome is worth, it looks like 34 Chaos, even though everybody's listing them in like Awakened Sextants and such, and a couple other decent cards here. I got a 6-link chess piece, which I will simply just vendor for 20 fusings, and a bunch of other small currencies. So these stacked decks are the main way that I'm personally making money with these Delirium Orbs. Of course, you can always do the skittering Delirium Orbs for Scarabs if that's what you want to do, but I'm personally doing stacked decks. Stacked decks are currently selling in large bulk for about... it's like 90 or 95 of them to a divine, or around 2 chaos per. And on average, each map, I get anywhere from 50 to 60 of these. So I am making a pretty decent amount back. Plus all of the extra little cards that you get from these Delirium Orbs as well can end up being some pretty decent money. So currently, if I'm talking about margins, I spent probably, in Sextants, I probably spent 10 chaos on that map. In Delirium Orbs, I probably spent roughly 60 chaos on that map. On Scarabs, I probably spent around 10 to 12 chaos on that map, and then 2 chaos from the map device, so probably like 90 chaos-ish spent on investing into that map, and I have made more than that in just the stacked decks that we found. So everything on top of the stacked decks is just pure profit, meaning I got this extra divine, I got these raw chaos, a whole bunch of cards that'll sell for decent amounts of things, scarabs, random raw small currencies. This is a strategy that drops a ton of whatever main map that you're doing. If you look at my map tab, my dunes map is overflowing at this point. So if you're doing dunes or you're doing cemeteries, you can sell these in bulk as you get them. Just sell like, I don't know, like 20 or 30 of them at a time. That can make you some extra money. So overall, some pretty good currency generation if these maps are only taking you like a few minutes at a time with a very good clearing build. And this, of course, was without getting good legions, without getting any of the like legion emblems that can drop as a whole with this strategy. This was a decent result because of the divine orb, but everything else was about mediocre. This wasn't like amazing or bad or anything. So I want to quickly go over the Atlas tree that we've got here. This Atlas tree has, once again, all of the legion nodes. This is going to just be taking every single one of them. We just want to get as many legions into our maps as we possibly can to make them as powerful as possible. We are once again using the Eldritch Altar nodes that you'll see here. This is basically the same information as before. We're just trying to generate as many altars as we possibly can with as many modifiers as we possibly can and get as many of these Eldritch Embers as we possibly can. Beyond that, this is now going to be a singular focus strategy. The whole entire idea here is to generate a little bit extra basic currency and focus on the one map that we are looking to do. I would recommend that if you're doing a singular focus strategy that you have basically as many of the favor slots as you possibly can. And if you don't have those, you can just buy the map that you're trying to run in bulk, but that's going to impact your profitability a little bit, so do be careful with that. I've also taken these 2 sets of map nodes, but you don't have to take these if you are like at a massive surplus. You can put these pretty much anywhere else you'd like. Harbingers are just going to inject a ton of extra mobs into our map. Notably, one of the biggest ones is going to be the first wave here with a 25% chance to be replaced by a powerful Harbinger boss. This just spawns that big giant guy with the crown that spawns like a bajillion monsters. We're really just mainly focusing on juicing as many monsters into these maps as we can. A tip that I did pick up from Firegrass here, this is the Pact with Energy node. This is going to make it so that if you do have Nico missions, you can also actually take this node here to give yourself some more Nico missions. This node here is actually pretty cool. You do some extra damage, have some extra movement speed, and you get some extra maximum elemental resist. Anytime that you put a Nico mission on your map, you just pick up the sulfite veins and you don't really care whether or not you're doing sulfite. You can spend that sulfite on buying stuff from Nico if you like, but this is just some good extra damage, some good extra movement speed, and some good maximum elemental resist. A really solid node, so shout out to Firegrass for letting me know about that one. Beyond that, we are using the new Breach and Abyss nodes. Now, the big thing about Breach that has changed is that they have put a ton more Breach mobs into the map, but made them drop a little bit less. Now, I think I did see a video by Snoobay that was talking about how you can make some pretty decent currency out of the Breach if you really focus on Breach, but this current strategy that we're using here is just using Breach for its mobs. We're not using Breach to get any drops from it whatsoever. We're just trying to get as many mobs into the map as we can. In that effort, we are only going to be taking nodes that give us additional breaches or are going to be generating more Breach mobs in our map. Now, notably, you can take things like Heavy Breach if you're having issues clearing all of those mobs. I don't recommend doing this, but you should probably just be okay with however many you're killing at any given time. But the Breach is literally just here to get more Breach mobs into our map and to get more enemies to kill to generate more of those Delirium layers. And of course, we are using Abyss as well. The new Abyss does have some pretty decent nodes, and we do generate a pretty decent amount of enemies in all of the maps. So we're taking Abyssal Army to increase the amount of monsters spawned in the maps, and then we are also coming up here and taking these Abyss nodes, which are going to increase the amount of monsters for each prior pit and guarantee at least 3 pits at any given time. Last but definitely not least, we're taking this Imagine Pursuits node. This is going to give us +1 count on completing the map, meaning when we are killing the final boss. So in general, you can do 2 different things. You can either kill the boss immediately if you don't care and you're just wanting to like focus on altars and everything else, or you can wait to the very end and get a guaranteed +1 on the very top end of your Delirium rewards. And this is probably what I do most of the time, is just get that guaranteed +1, because it's significantly harder to finish Delirium rewards at the end, and it is very easy to get them early on. Now, of course, there are pretty extensive notes up here in the section here. These will be linked down in the description below, so you can go grab them and you can check these out and just keep them on the side whenever you're doing your content. Talks about the map options, talks about what we scale, what items, what scarabs, what sextants you can use, what you should be focusing on, all the different things, and hopefully this will help you generate a little bit more currency. And that was going to be it for the video. Hopefully this video will help you generate a little bit more currency, tell you how I made all of my currency on the Splitting Steel Champion, and get you into some better gear. So remember, boys, if you enjoy this content, make sure to give this video a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit that notification bell to stay up to date with all the latest videos, and stay safe out there in raid class, and I'll see you guys in the next video.